Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister-in-law stay at my house because I prefer my dogs? She doesn't like them. With the pandemic, She-19 female lost her job and stopped paying rent. And now she was kicked out of her apartment and has nowhere to go. Her parents live in another city, and we are her only relatives here. That's why she asked my 24 female, husband 28 male, if she can stay with us until she finds a new job, and we said yes. But then she asked what we were going to do with our dogs. I asked her what she meant, and she said she couldn't stay with us if we weren't sending the dogs somewhere else because she's afraid of them. They are 2 Great Danes and a Greyhound, and they are all very friendly. They've never bit or hurt anyone, and they would never do something like that. I've had a Greyhound for 8 years, and the other 2 for 5 years, and that's why I know they would never do something like that. My husband and I told her that if she wants to stay here, she will have to learn to live with them. That they are really important to us, and that this is also their house and they won't go anywhere. She said that she's scared to death of them, and that she could never live with them because of what happened to her when she was a child. When she was about 5, a Greyhound bit her and left a big scar on her arm, and since then, she hates dogs like mine. So we told her that she can't stay here, and now the whole family's mad at us. My in-laws think that we are being insensitive, and my mother-in-law's angry with me. Especially because she says that my sister-in-law is like my sister, and that it's not fair for me to do that to her. And she said that because I've been with my husband since I was 14, and his whole family always treated me as if I was another member of their family. But honestly, that doesn't even matter to me. My dogs are like my kids, and I love them as much as I love her, and I'm not going to change my mind. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. The dogs are your kids. That person is an adult, and she can go stay with another family member if they think life's so bad for her. She is not your responsibility. The dogs are. This. She should go home to her parents. She needs to learn compromise or life is going to be very hard. To be fair, a deep-rooted fear from the attack as a child is enough to understand a sister-in-law not compromising. On the other hand, she knows the dogs are there and should have never asked them to get rid of them and found another option. Sister-in-law is an a-hole. Start a group chat with all the in-laws. Sister-in-law is about to be homeless. Why haven't you all pitched in to pay for an apartment and expenses for her? You are abandoning her. She's helpless, deserves this, etc. You know, hubby and I would love to contribute, but because our dogs are so expensive, we can't. Then laugh out loud. And laugh out loud even more. Not the a-hole. This is my favorite response. Perfect amount of evil. Not the a-hole. Her fear is understandable, but her request to get rid of the dogs is unreasonable. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister live with me because I don't like dogs? So, I'm male 27 and I have my own house, and would say I'm fairly well-to-do. My sister managed to get caught up in some MLM pyramid scheme and is in debt and without a job. My sister has 2 dogs, a shepherd and an Akita. I don't like dogs, and never will. It's just my problem. Now, my sister wants to move in with me so she can start looking for a job and save money in rent. I told her she would not be allowed because I did not want her dogs. She told me how well trained they were and that this was an emotional support animal. I hate how people can say the dog is an emotional support animal, and you're now expected to let the dog come in with you. It's literally no different from a dog you picked up on the street and became an owner, because that's what an emotional support animal is. A pet. I told her no, and she called me heartless, and that I could put the dog in one room. This would not work because my sister would need to walk and groom the dog, which would eventually let it go all over my house, and keeping it in a confined place is cruel. She called me an a-hole for letting her suffer. Am I the a-hole? Edit about emotional support animal. I think the concept is good and there are some people who really need them, but so many people abuse the system so they can take their dogs anywhere. Most people I know with dogs will pull out a doctor's note and bam, emotional support animal. You can do whatever the hell you want. Some people even buy emotional support animal vets off Amazon if they want to go the extra mile. Not the a-hole. People on here really pretending that the fake emotional support animal industry isn't a thriving one. It is freaking massive. Literally every person with a dog tells me 1, it is an emotional support animal, or 2, it's a rescue. Like you really got a puppy purebred golden retriever from a rescue. A local lady made a massive fuzz over a bookshop not letting her re-essay dog in. 1. Dog is a Chihuahua. 2. It had a history of pooping in the shop and nipping at people and growling at them. Owner had enough, and woman made a massive outcry, even staring the local fish wrapper. Everyone laughed at it. Okay, let's put aside the whole ESA thing because that's not really what's at issue here. What's at issue is that, as much as you support your sister, you don't like dogs. And if she moves in with you, she'll be bringing 2 extremely big, hairy dogs. I'm a massive dog lover, and because I'm a massive dog lover, I'm going to tell you that she's an idiot. There is no way that you can safely or healthily keep an Akita in one room or a shepherd. I'm assuming that you mean some kind of German shepherd. It would be cruel if not dangerous. It's just not a suitable environment for the dogs, especially dogs of those breeds. Not Dayhall. Not Dayhall even as a dog owner. They shed hair, and even the best trained, well-groomed ones introduce a smell. You would also have to live with things in your space you hate. Neither you or the dogs need that. Next story. I'm a Hall for being honest with my sister that I would not become a stepmother again if I knew how it would be. This might sound and look bad from the title alone, so I'm prepared for the sub's decision. My younger sister, 26 female, is dating a man who has 2 kids with an ex. I, 46 female, have been with my husband for more than 17 years. When we met, he was a divorced dad of 3. My stepkids are now adults. My husband is a grandfather. I can honestly say it has not been easy, and I don't think it was the perfect role for me. I love my family, so I wouldn't walk away from them now. But I also know there has been more heartbreak in our family lifetime than there has been heartwarming. I say this even with 2 wonderful children out of it, and a happy marriage outside of it. I was always the outsider, never really considered family by my stepkids. I'm not grandma, while my husband is grandpa. And even though there is no tension or fighting, just indifference, I'm not the kind of person who can't have their heart break a little more, realizing even after all these years, they could walk away from me easily. And while they're not awful to my bios, they definitely don't include them as siblings the way they do each other. It's tough. I don't think I was the best suited for that side of this. So anyway, my sister and I always promised each other honesty. I'm so much older than her, and I tried to baby her a bit too much when she was a lot younger, which she hated. So when she asked me did I have any regrets and would I do it again, I was honest. And when she asked me if I thought she would be able for it, I was also honest. That I don't think she is, because she's even more sensitive than I am, and she's already going in with expectations that might not be met. Now she's mad, and said I was an a-hole and I should have lied. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. She asked for your honest opinion and you obliged. Yeah, don't lie about this stuff if it involves kids. Not the a-hole. Never ask questions if you aren't willing to hear the answers. Sister asks Opie about her honest opinion. Opie gives honest opinion that sister is too sensitive. Sister gets mad because she doesn't think she's too sensitive. Not a-hole. If you had lied, she would have come to you later and been angry that you didn't tell her the truth. I suspect that your sister may already be discovering that being a step-parent is really hard and is taking out her frustrations on you. Not a-hole. Being a step-parent is extremely hard. Truly, no one can understand what it entails and how taxing it is unless they have lived it themselves. You were right to answer her question with honesty. It doesn't mean she will cease her current relationship. People often need to learn things through their own experiences. From one stepmom to another. I feel you. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister have the bigger room? Bit of backstory. My sister, 22, and her boyfriend live at home with our parents while they save for a mortgage. I, 27, live with my husband, 32, and our 2 children. Female 4-year-old and male 21 months old. My parents and my husband and I decided that we wanted to rent a larger house together so we could both save and so they can offer more assistance with childcare as I am starting uni in September. We would split bills proportionally to current living costs and to allow us to save the same amount. My parents would pay £1,500 and my husband and I would pay £800 to £900. My sister and her boyfriend would be moving along with my parents while they save. They currently and would continue to pay my parents £100 per month each. She works full-time as a nurse and he works part-time in retail. The long-term goal is to jointly buy a house with my parents, so my dad is able to retire comfortably and we all have lower living costs. So far, every property we have looked at, my sister has demanded the bigger bedroom, excluding the master, that would be my parents' room, using the excuse of either the smaller room being closer to the kids. Not the case, and when it was, I agree the smaller room would be better located for my husband and I, and that she spends more time in her room than I do, and she wants the space to fit a vanity. I have not sat quietly and agreed with this, and argued my point of it being my long-term home that I share with our parents, and she will only be there temporarily and is only coming as she is still living at home. When I have raised this as an issue, my mom got upset with me and said she isn't getting involved, and we will just call the whole arrangement off. Bottom line is that, since we lost my grandparents 5 years ago, my mom has treated my sister with kid gloves and basically let her have her own way on everything, as she can be very combative and stubborn. I want to know, am I the a-hole for not letting my sister have what she wants, then switching rooms once she has moved out, or should I stick to my guns? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, but by the sound of things, I wouldn't buy a house with your parents until your sister isn't living with them. She's very cheeky for someone who is barely paying for anything. The very definition of a choosy beggar. If your mom won't have your back, wait and buy later or just don't buy with them. I personally would not buy property with the parents regardless if they were able to convince their daughter to live away from home. I say this because what happens when the parents pass away, I'm sure both Opie and her sister would jointly inherit the property. Opie will have to deal with the sister, and it does not sound like it would be amicable. Not a-hole. It sounds like your sister knows she has good thing going and wants to keep it. She doesn't plan to move out anytime soon. I'd be advising that if they, your sister and her partner, do move with you, that they have X amount of time to save and leave, or that they pay the appropriate amount to live there. If you have the type of relationship with your parents where you can have an honest talk, I suggest sitting them down and discussing the options. If you don't have the type of relationship where you can have an honest talk, don't buy a house with them. We own, and share, a multifamily with my mother, and it only works because we have clear expectations, and we each have our own separate living space. Even still, it was an adjustment at first. Not a-hole. Stick to your guns. You're investing in this house, not her. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for saying I want to spend time with my mom, not babysit? I, 21 female, live in a different state to my mom and stepdad. I went to stay with them for a few days a couple of weeks ago. I was there to spend time with my mom because it had been a long while, and honestly, I miss her. Talking over the phone just isn't the same. She ended up needing to fill in on a couple of late shifts, so some of the nights we had plans I was just hanging out. My stepdad's daughter, stepsister technically since we lived together for 7 years of my childhood, has kids and dropped them off with my stepdad. He then decided he wanted to go out and asked me to babysit. I said no. He told me it would be a great chance to get to know my nieces. I told him I was there to spend time with my mom, not babysit. He got pissed. But I had never met those girls before. I had not seen his daughter in years. She really had some issues with her dad marrying my mom, and I was her easiest target as a kid younger than her, and she basically decided I wasn't welcome in her life. They did not have any idea who I was. He introduced me as their aunt, and they told him their mom said they had no aunt or grandma, just him. So that to me was a very good reason for my no should be respected. But he pushed, and he told me I was rude saying I wasn't there to babysit, etc. My mom told me I did nothing wrong, and it was inappropriate to ask that of me when he knows even she is not allowed to watch the kids or be in the house with them without him. Per his daughter, so crap hit the fan between them. But my aunt, my mom's sister, told me I could have been less of an a-hole and this might have blown over. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. He was trying to shirk responsibility and got caught. Now they are gaslighting you. You're dead right about him. That's exactly what he was doing. Not the a-hole. If you aren't trusted enough to meet them properly, then they aren't your responsibility to watch them. Stepdad sounds like he's guilt-tripping. I doubt she knew I was going to be there, honestly. Sounds like his daughter would have went ape if I had agreed. Not the a-hole. He was wrong. I'm glad that your mom backed you up. My aunt, my mom's sister, Told me I could have been less of an a-hole and this might have blown over. Yeah, right. If by blown over, she means giant crap show of apocalyptic proportions. As soon as their mother found out that Opie, who according to her doesn't actually exist, watched her kids, she would lose her mind. She doesn't even let Opie's mother watch them without their grandfather being present.